That hairstyling is no real easy task, but there are some people who make something that should be relatively simple a whole lot harder than it actually is. Hey, what's going on, geeks? Maxusthebeast is here, and welcome back to Storytime. I know I'm the most original person with content right now. Oh, you're doing story times and Subnautica videos again. Oh, how original. You have no upload consistency or whatever. I'm trying, guys. But as the introduction suggests, today's story time is going to be talking about my strange instances at a barbershop. You heard me. At a barbershop. So, I'm just going to be going over 3 of my weirdest experiences getting my hair cut. Without further ado, let's begin. So our first story comes from when I was 9. A new haircut place had opened up in a city not too far away from where I lived. So we had a couple friends who I went to school with whose parents took them there and said that the people there did a really nice job. So, believing them, my mom takes me over to this place and we get ready to have her hair cut. Well, we go in there and it's this really fancy waiting room. They have a really nice, really fancy waiting area. And first impressions, the place looked really nice. So it was believable that this place was as good as it was hopefully going to be as good as it looks. I mean, it looked professional, so it looked like the people who worked there were going to be, well, professionals. Unfortunately, things did not go as planned. Hence, it is on the list. So they take us back after about 10 minutes of waiting, which is a good amount of time, but it could have been worse. The wait time could have been a lot worse. But we get called back, and they wash our hair out. They had stations with sinks where you would lean back in a chair, and they would wash your hair out. This was kind of a luxury, as we had never had this done at our local barbershop. So this was something fancy, something cool, that something you don't even see like in a movie about royalty or something. And we felt like, oh wow, this is a really cool thing. They're high standard. They're top quality. We're gonna get what we pay for. Well, the whole hair washing thing went all fine and dandy. Unfortunately, what happened afterward did not. So, after they finished washing our hair out, they take us to seats where we would actually get our hair cut. You know, why we came to the place to begin with. And they sit me down. My mom is taken somewhere else, because she had to have her hair dyed or something. So they had a separate place for that, and they had a separate place for people who were actually there for haircuts, which was me. So I'm sat in this chair, and my hairstylist, well, their hairstylist, picks up a razor, right? You know, she's doing what she's supposed to do. She's starting out normally, nothing wrong. She starts shaving the back left side of my hair. Then she moves on to the right, and then she goes down and center. This is where things go wrong, my friends. So the razor starts cutting up the back of my hair, but then it gets stuck. I kid you not, somehow, of course, to all the people in the world, it happened to me. The stupid razor gets stuck in the back of my frickin' skull. And it's not moving. She's tugging at it, it hurts. It's not getting out. She gets a pair of scissors, and she starts attempting to cut it out with those, but the razor's blades are too long, so whenever she tried to bear down with the scissors, it would kind of bounce back. So there was no way that the scissors were going to be able to cut the razor out of my hair. Well, I'm in quite the pickle, Rick! I'm in quite the pickle. Excuse me for the trash Rick and Morty reference. So, of course, she had not been trained to deal with the scenario that the razor gets stuck in the back of some kid's hair. So she, of course, calls somebody who's more experienced than her, a more experienced stylist. And the stylist goes and she gets a warm glass of water, like she's trying to treat it like it's a tongue stuck on a cold pole or something. And interestingly enough, it works. The razor comes right out, but I am traumatized. Of course, they had alerted my mom to the whole situation, and she was back there now. Needless, to try to make up for it all, they give me a lollipop. When I opened up the lollipop, it broke. I opened it up, it just fell apart. So it wasn't even worth a lollipop. We ditched that place. We're out. Bye. See you later. We are not, needless to say, we never went back there again. We paid for what we had to and left. Good riddance, place. Good riddance. So about a week or so after this whole experience, we learned that there's another new a new barbershop that opened up about 10 miles or so away from our house. So this one's a lot closer than the last one, and since it's local, we thought we knew the people who ran it, but it turns out we didn't. During this whole transition period, by the way, guys, our regular hairstylist was out of town. And she was going to be out of town for 2 months. So in that time, we were going to have to make do with these other places. Well, we walk into this new barbershop, and the place reeks of smoke. Somebody had been smoking their cigarettes or cigars or whatever inside and didn't bother to put any air fresheners or anything in there to try to get rid of the stench. So all the furniture reeked of cigarette smoke. And it was nasty. The chairs in there were falling apart. The armrests on the chairs some of them had holes, and you can see the stuffing inside of it popping out. Others, there was one that had a spring loose in the very back of the chair, which was very uncomfortable to lean against, as you can imagine. So, the seating quality was poor. Now, the actual barber's chairs were in good condition. They weren't uncomfortable to sit in. However, the barber, he was apparently only used to giving, get this, military cuts. So, when my mom instructed him, because I'm 9, I don't know how to properly cut my hair yet, what style my hair should technically be in, my mom instructs him to just make it a little bit short around the sides, because that's where my hair likes to grow, make sure my sideburns are in check, and spike the front of my hair when he's finished. I mean, it is a very specific request, but it doesn't seem like a very difficult one. Well, he goes right on back to the very back of my hair, and he just shaves it right through, like there's skin showing. And like I said, he's used to giving military cuts. And if you don't know, military cuts are you're essentially left with a little bit of peach fuzz. That's how much hair you're left with. So you're essentially shaved bald, except for a little bit of hair here and there. So he was going to give me one of those. And that meant he was going to have to shave pretty much everything else bald. And, of course, we did not want my hair bald, so Mom cries out in protest. He stops, and we try to explain to him, "Sir, we do not want a military cut. We just want..." She explains the style of hair again. He instantly goes back to trying to shave my hair bald. He does not understand the request Mom gave him. Which, in my book, if you go to a hairstyling school or whatever, that you sure as heck need to know how to do more than one style. You can't just be a one-trick pony. I mean, you could, but I don't know how good business would be to you. So, similar to the last one, we leave, and apparently, a neighbor of ours was working at our old hairstylist barbershop. So we go over there, and he fixes my hair to the point where it looks presentable again. He kind of evens it out in some places, yet still makes it so I don't have a military cut. And we are essentially eternally grateful for his help. Like, seriously, it would have been quite embarrassing to walk back into school with a military cut, like, and look bald, because regardless of if it's from the military or not, kids are going to make fun of you if your hair looks slightly different than theirs. But although this one did have a positive ending, it was still strange nonetheless. And I do believe, as a little follow-up to the whole shop, it did go out of business a few months after it opened. And while I am sad to see a business crumple like that, I wonder why it didn't survive that long. Maybe because the person who's running the place only could do one hairstyle, and that one only. Maybe that's it. I don't know. Totally not being sarcastic. Good riddance to that, I say. Although, like I said, I am sorry to see a business fall. It does make me sad when businesses just, go bankrupt, essentially. But, it's no longer there, no longer shaving people to their baldness. So at least we had a slightly positive ending for that one. Now, if you thought the last one had a good ending, well, I'm sorry, my friend, but this one is not going to have such a happy landing. This last one occurred when I was 5. Okay, so before these last two even had the chance to happen. So, but similar to the last couple scenarios, our regular stylist was out of town. And we still went to her practice, or her shop. But she had a substitute. And her substitute had not gone to school, had not had any kind of practice. This was her first time ever cutting hair. Well, if you're familiar with noobs, then I'm sure you'll be aware of how sometimes incompetent they can be in this kind of a situation. So she had no clue what she was doing, Yet she still insisted that she cut my hair. Right? Well, she starts cutting with the razor, and for the first few minutes, everything's going fine. Well, she goes in for the stitches. For the scissors. And she misses. And she cuts a gash in the side of my head. It's not a big gash, but as a 5-year-old, it hurt like the devil. She was very apologetic for it. To Mom, of course, because I was too busy wailing. But it was incredibly painful. And I was bleeding bad. It's the only time I ever remember bleeding out of my head. And ever having blood in my hair. It was nasty, and it did not sit well at all. She lost her license, I guess. I mean, she didn't really go to school, but she lost the privilege to ever cut hair again. We could have pressed charges, I guess. We could have sued for all she's worth, but we didn't. We didn't sue, we didn't do anything like that. We didn't take legal action because although it was a cut and I was bleeding kind of bad, it wasn't like life-threatening or it wasn't going to impact me in any way other than the fact that I have a cut in my head now. It healed, of course, and it did not leave a scar. But El Frico over here, she lost her privileges, and that's the end of that. Well, guys, I do hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please be sure to leave a like and comment down below your thoughts on these stories. And if you ever had a strange encounter with a barber or while at a barber shop, share your stories down below. I would love to hear stories from you guys. Anyway, guys, if you are new and you want to see content similar to this, meaning more Subnautica, more Subnautica, more story times, more CSGO, more Overwatch, more games, please be sure to subscribe for future content. And if you want to have notifications whenever I upload, be sure to hit the notification bell beside the push subscribe button so you will be notified whenever I upload. Excusez-moi. Anyway, guys, thanks again for watching this video. And as always, Maxusthebeast is out.